Hey plant fam. So tonight I'm going to be doing a video that I should have done a long time ago. However, there is a reason that I haven't done it yet, and I'll explain that. So tonight we are going to be checking out some grow lights that I purchased off Amazon, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the grow lights and what I think of them. Now, please keep in mind that I am by no means an expert on lighting and the watts and pars and all those other terms that confuse me. Basically, what I'm going to be sharing with you today is, have I noticed that any of these lights have made any difference at all, or just like zip, zero, zilch? So anyway, so that's what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. So I think I have 3 different sets of actual grow lights, and then I have some grow bulbs. Yeah. So we're going to go through that. So all of these things I will have linked below in the description. Now, anything that I do have posted down there that has a link to Amazon, because that's where I buy everything, in the interest of full disclosure, and I do explain that down below, I do get a small commission, I guess, if you want to call it that, off it if you do purchase it through my link. But if you like my channel and you want me to continue to make great content, or at least mildly entertaining content, then if you're going to buy it anyway, why not? Okay, anyways. So let's go ahead and check out some grow lights, and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, so I always forget to introduce myself. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Nikki. For those of you who are returning, welcome back, as always. Okay, so let's just dive into this grow light situation. So the first grow light that I ever purchased, I actually bought for my succulents, and I'm going to post it here. So this has 2 bendable arms. It does have a timer so that you can set it for 3, 6, or 12 hours. And it will shut off after that time, or you can choose to leave it on all the time and manually turn it off whenever you deem necessary. So this does have red, like the pink, blue, and then a combination of the 2. So depending on what your goal is. So if you want a really in-depth video on what the different colored lights are for and that kind of thing, I'm not your girl. Like I said before, I don't get into the technical aspects of it. What I do know is that the blue and the purple grow lights do have basically the majority of the spectrum that the plants need for growth and blooming. I believe, and I'm sure somebody's going to correct me, that the red lights are more for to promote blooms and that kind of thing, and then the purple or the blue lights are more for growth. I'm probably totally wrong. I don't know. You can go check out, there's a lot of actually really great videos on all the technical aspects and the ins and outs of the actual light spectrums. But that's just too far over my head. I just wanted to buy a couple grow lights and see if they worked. So I digress. So this one's really cool. You can kind of dim it from bright to not as bright. So if you want to keep them on overnight, but you maybe have some plants in your bedroom and you don't want it super bright, you can dim them down a little bit. So this, again, was the first one that I bought. I found it worked really well. For this one, especially if you have succulents, they require a very high amount of light. So I wasn't crazy about this light with respect to succulents. So if you are growing succulents, what I would recommend is a really a bright daylight bulb, and keep them really low, really close down, because the higher you have your light up, the further the light disperses, which kind of means, like, if you, I saw this explained in a video and I thought it was a really good way to put it. So if you have a whole bunch of grains of sand, let's say, maybe not sand, let's say little styrofoam balls, because they disperse a little better. So you're holding them up here, and when you drop them, they don't all drop straight down on top of whatever it is. They kind of, you know, catch the air and they disperse. So it's the same idea with light. So when the light comes down, it kind of disperses. Now there are lights that, if you start to get into the higher price range, that do have a more dense, again, don't know the words, but so the light that's filtering down would be like dropping a whole ton of balls in one area. So there's a lot more light that's directed at the plant itself. Again, there's terms for this stuff. By no means am I any sort of scientist or lighting specialist. I don't even know the term for it. Okay, anyway, so what I did find with this particular grow light is that it is really great. I have it right now, and I will show you the setup that I have. So I have this setup that aims at my little balls that I have my propagations in, that I got on Amazon, which are amazing, by the way. I do have those linked in the description. They are wonderful. I know that it's one of those situations, like, everybody is kind of struggling, especially when you have 210 plants. You are struggling for space to put these plants, right? And especially with propagations, a lot of your table space and counter space and every space you can fit a plant in has been taken up. So you kind of have to, you can't grow out anymore, so you have to grow up. So these bulbs that you can just kind of stick on a wall are amazing. Anyways, so I have this particular grow light facing on my propagation bulbs, and I can't tell you what it's done for them. It's I keep looking over there because they're right there. But they are amazing, and they work really well for that. So yeah. And I'll insert a little clip here of that area and what that looks like. So after I got those, I realized I need more. So I bought this one. So this one is a very similar product. However, it has 3 of the grow lights on the gooseneck. So you can kind of bend them. Same with the other ones. They're very bendable. So you can kind of bend them wherever you need them to be. I will show you where I have this one right now. I actually have it over my elbow, my Aglaonema pictum tricolor, and my forgetii that is currently growing a new leaf. I'm so excited. Anyways, and it's really, really helping the growth on those plants. So this one is extremely similar to the other one. It does have the high and low dimmable settings. It does have the 3 different lighting settings. So your reds, your blues, or the combination of the 2. It does have your 3, 6, and 12 hour on off, or your full on, full off sort of idea. So depending on your situation of how many plants or the space that you're trying to light really depend on you know, which one of these 2 you go for, the 2 or the 3 arm. I found both of these, as far as the, like, how well they worked, the quality of light they produce, and how well they actually do for the plants. I was actually rather surprised. They do really well. So I think either of these options would be great. So I think both of these ranged in the $25 to $35 range. Now I know prices change all the time on Amazon, but I believe, and that's Canadian pricing. So I don't know the exchange and whatever, but feel free to check them out. They both are really, really great. The only thing that I would say about these is that depending on some of the situations that you get the arms in, the gooseneck isn't crazy stiff. So it does tend to droop a little depending on the angle that you have the original clamp in, if that makes any sense at all. But for all the uses I've had, I've always come up with a way to make it work. So I wouldn't say that is a huge drawback in the slightest. Okay, so moving along. I gotta scroll back to the page. So the next one that I'm going to review, so this one I bought after I got my little 5-shelf greenhouse, my indoor greenhouse. And there are some really great options out there that are in a higher price point that probably would have been amazing in this greenhouse. However, I was just kind of starting out with this greenhouse situation, and I had already spent a lot of money on plants. So I opted for this option. Now I bought these ones, which I'll post right here. I believe they were $59.99. Again, that is Canadian. So as you can see, I'm assuming I'm showing you the picture I'm looking at right now. So it does have 4 strips. So what I've actually done is on each shelf of the greenhouse, I've put like a strip of these lighting. Now this one is only pink. There is not an option for blue or for a combination of the two. It is only pink. So I found if you're growing succulents, which I originally had on this shelf, I didn't have it enclosed in the greenhouse. I just had the succulents all on the shelf. And if you look back at previous videos, like my plant tours, you will see how I had that set up. Now I have kind of changed a whole bunch of stuff around. So I don't have, with the exception of a couple, like my propagations and stuff like that, I don't have a whole lot in there as far as succulents are concerned. What I do have in my greenhouse now is some calatheas. I do have a couple of begonias in there. So again, I will show you what that looks like. Now, what I found with these, the first thing that I noticed as far as a con is concerned is that they get really warm. So I don't really trust them too much. I'll trust them overnight because we are home, and God forbid if anything happened, at least we're here. I don't leave them on during the day while I'm at work because they do get really hot, and you never know, and I'm just not willing to risk that. As far as having regular plants in the greenhouse with those grow lights, my begonias have just started shooting out new leaves, which if you follow me on Instagram, which I'll post right here, the begonia that I got in the, if you go back and watch my video, my Etsy unboxing fail, I put that begonia in here. It had had a few leaves. It was doing well, and it has just exploded. It has gotten like all kinds of new leaves, and so I'm really impressed with that. So if you're going to use this for succulents, I don't recommend it. If you're going to use it in a greenhouse for regular plants, or things, now I've got it enclosed that require high humidity, I would recommend them for that. Again, keep in mind they do get hot. You can double up and have, like, say if you got 2 sets of them, you could do 2 strips on each shelf, and I may actually do that at some point, but for now this is what I've got. It's working. So there's that. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I tried, I wanted more of a bright daylight bulb for some of my tropical plants. So I bought these, what are they called? Like, I don't know, I keep calling them a ballast, but I don't know if that's the proper term for them. So, you know, the big metal thing that holds the bulb. Sorry. So I'll post it up here so you can see what I'm talking about. So these are super cheap. They are $7.50 Canadian. So I actually have, you can probably see some in the background. There's one there, and I'll kind of show you what else I've got. But I bought these bulbs first to go with that. So these Sun Blaster, the 13 watt CFL grow lamps, you get 4 in a package. I paid $36 Canadian for those. I really like them. They're nice and bright. I have these on some of my, you know, my big ticket guys. And they're working great. So what I do like about them is that they give you, or they give the plants that sunlight feel, and the benefits of sunlight are close to it. And you can kind of keep them quite close. So I find, especially with variegated plants, you know, they do require a substantial amount of light, but then you run that risk of the white parts burning. I haven't had any problems with these bulbs as far as, you know, any burning or browning of leaves or anything like that. So most of them I have about a foot away from the actual plant itself. There are a couple plants that I have one sitting, God, maybe 6 or 8 inches away from without any problem at all. Now, again, before you all go out and put all these bulbs like right over your plant and then, you know, they burn and go, oh my God, Nikki, you told me. Okay, this is me just telling you what I have done. I don't need anybody yelling at me. I'm sorry. This is just what I have found, what works for me. So yeah, that's my disclaimer. So anyways, I would highly recommend these bulbs and these light fixtures because I have these everywhere. And if you've seen any of my recent plant tours, you can absolutely see them everywhere. What I do kind of like about them is they're more like, you know, if you go into like a library that somebody has in their home and they have that like accent spotlighting, that's kind of what they look like. Like, I don't really find them overly, like a lot of people don't like grow lights and that kind of thing in their home and in their setups because it looks, you know, unsightly or whatever. I don't have a problem with it. I kind of like mine. So, but it's totally personal preference. I know there are some other options that are really cool that I am actually looking into that are a little bit more modern, that kind of are more like a natural light that you would find in the home that are really neat. So maybe I'll explore those after, but for now I am completely satisfied with these guys. So again, these light fixtures and these bulbs, highly recommend. Moving on. Okay, so these next two that I'm going to kind of combine together are both Miracle LED commercial hydroponic grow lights. Now, one is 150 watts and one is 100 watts. They are both full spectrum bulbs. The 150 watt was $21.07 Canadian, and the 100 watt was $18.95. Now that is per one bulb. So I kind of wanted to try these just to see if there was a difference between the compact bulb and these ones. I kind of have them all over the place, and to be totally honest with you, I haven't really seen a whole lot of difference, but I will say that I have them on different plants. I mean, really, to get a good idea of if one works better than the other, you'd have to have kind of like 2 identical plants, have one bulb on one bulb on the other, you know where I'm going with this. Both of these bulbs are great. Would I continue to buy these? Probably not. I do find them a little bit expensive. And I did find that the 4-pack that I showed you previously works amazing. You get 4 and you pay slightly more than you do for 1. So that's that. Again, I did buy a whole ton of those light clamps because I love them. You can clip them onto everything. You can put them wherever you like. They will bend and turn. They have like pivoting neck, so you can point them wherever you need them. Love those. I would recommend those all day long. Okay, so then I decided that I wanted to try to get, I saw this 3-arm, it was like a daylight grow bulb situation. Oh, again, it's right here. So this one, again, like the first 2, it does have the gooseneck arms. Now, what I will say about this one is that the arms are extremely flexible and they will stay where you put them. So that I did really like. You do need to have them fairly close to your plants. I do find that, at least compared to the bulbs in the fixtures that I have, these are nowhere near as bright, but I do have them on some plants that that don't require a crazy high amount of direct light by any means. So I have them, I have them on my Clarinervium, my Warquenum dark form. What else do I have? I had to check. My Villati. I have a Pink Princess under those, and I really like these. I would definitely buy these again, and I probably will. I did pay, I think it was about $45, $45.99-ish. I think they're $45.99 now. Again, I'll put it up here. But I do think that they were worth it. So again, definitely would recommend them depending on what you're using them for. Moving along. Okay, so that is all of the grow bulbs that I use. I continue to use them. It's not like it got to a point where I found some that didn't work, so I don't use. I actually use all of them. So along the way there, I did insert some clips that kind of showed you in what situations I use them, where I have them around my house. If you have any questions about any of these grow bulbs, go ahead and throw it in the comment section. I always like talking about anything, so I'm a bit of a chatterer. I don't know if that came across. Maybe. Okay. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, you found it even slightly entertaining or educational or helpful, then go ahead and hit that like button. If you want more content like this and more plant related stuff, anywho. So if you want more content like this, I am starting now that it's getting summer and summer is ending and we're getting into fall and winter. Obviously, I won't have that many plants coming in. A lot of the plants that I order are shipped, and winter is non-conducive to shipping plants. So probably come October, mid-November, I'll probably stop ordering plants online. So we're gonna really kind of shift focus into plant care and some of the things I do to keep all of these crazy things alive and thriving. So anyways, I hope you'll join me for that. And it'll be really nice to see after the winter how everything has done and how well it's grown. Maybe I'll do another update next year after these grow lights are really going to matter over the winter. And I know a lot of you right now are really getting into, you know, winterizing everything, and trying to, you know, bring your plants inside and trying to find, you know, moisture solutions and lighting solutions. And so I felt like this was a good time for this video, just to give you some options on lights. Okay. I am really bad at ending videos. Like, I'll go to end it and I'll be like, la, 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 la. Okay. Have a great evening, day, weekend, month, year, and I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah, 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 mwah. Okay, so the first no, retake.